mailbox.
Give Grandma her slipper back.
I'm just
Hey,
gonna think.
give it.
There's something he delivered the other day that I didn't get out of the box yet.
Give it to Grandma. Give it to Grandma.
Can I have it?
Slippery floor. Huh?
Silly dog.
You ready to go outside? Go for a walk? Leave it. Leave it. Good boy. Got a little snow overnight. Not too bad. You can hear the crunch because it's like 32 degrees right now. Like, this is perfect packing for snowball fights or snowmen. Remember when I was a kid, it's perfect packing. That was a big thing. He seems to really like the snow. What are you sniffing? Oh, almost lost it. Oh, what a mess. What a sloppy mess. Oh, the good old days. I have forgotten what it's like to be here in the winter in the snow. I really have. It's been a lot of years, like 6 years since we've been here in the winter. It's just no sun. One of these days. Hey, come on up here. Whoops. Come on. Come on, buddy. A little deep in there. Alright, I gotta get you all back in my pocket. There's a snowplow truck casing us right now. I don't want to get in his way. Hi everyone, hope you all are doing great today. We are out in the truck. We're headed over to the spray car wash, the self-spray. So today, like this morning, it's just about 9 a.m. It's about 40 degrees out. Yesterday it got up to 42, and this morning, so it stayed warm overnight. So the truck cranked up, no problem. It hasn't run, we've been here a couple weeks. It hasn't run since we pulled in here. So what I'm doing is going over to get all the salt sprayed off of this thing. You know, the last day of driving, we were getting salt spray, and this vehicle has never been in salt. And I can see, and actually let me show it to you. Let me fix this. You see that? I've never seen that before. Yeah, that's coming right from the bumper. It's not dripping down. So that is absolutely from the salt spray. That chrome bumper never showed any signs of rust. It might have, you know, obviously it's got some little dots of rust, but not enough that it showed up, you know, like pinhead type. But with the salt, and then just sitting here, it allowed it to stain the bumper. So I got to get rid of that, and the rest of it, you know, spray up underneath as much as I can. Okay, buddy, we're okay. And also got to stop at the post office to mail a couple of letters, envelopes, certified mail, which I've never done before. I've never had to do that before, and I'll explain all that in another video because it's a whole nightmare. So we're gonna just sit here a couple minutes and let her warm up, and then we're gonna drive over to the post office and then to the car wash, and then we're gonna be parking the rig not in the driveway because it's the snowplow guy isn't able to plow the driveway fully with the vehicle sitting here, and I don't want to bother the neighbors, so I'm going to move it. There's an extra parking. I can see it from here. There's overflow parking basically. So we're just going to park it 75 feet away until the weather totally stops snowing, because we actually have snow in the forecast tonight and tomorrow, so it's not over yet here. Spring is not sprung in western New York yet. Come on! Come on! We got one more place to go. Come on! Alright, post office was partially successful. I sent both envelopes, but one of them, the address it didn't match what they had in the system as far as, well, I'll explain it all in the other video, because like I said, that's a whole nother topic. So now we're on to the car wash to get this thing sprayed off and hopefully get all the salt off of it. You ready? Huh? You ready? Okay. Okay, here we go. Almost forgot y'all. I got all the way down to the corner and realized that I'd left you all behind. I am sorry about that. Just did some James Bond driving to get back over here really fast before somebody noticed y'all sitting in the corner of the wash booth there. And luckily I made it. So I tried the foam brush on one of the wheels, the wheel covers, and it has the rust staining also from the salt, and it didn't work. So I got to get out here with some, wax and wipe down the wheel covers. They're chrome, and the front bumper that shows those rust stains on it. Because if I don't get that wiped off, it's just like on the wheel covers, it's rust staining from the wheel that's behind the wheel cover, the hubcap, the wheel cover, the wheel simulator. So it just has staining from sitting in the driveway where the bottom of the wheel was. So I've got to get that waxed, rubbing compound wax. Anything will take it off. It's very light staining. I tried the foaming brush there, and it didn't do it. I didn't think it would, but I gave it a shot. So my glasses are pretty well soaked. They tried to come off my head a couple times. It's always so hectic doing the self car wash with the rig, because I'm trying to minimize the amount of time, because time is money when you're in the spray thing there. And you have to navigate the hose, around the ceiling, around the top of the rig. When you're in a car, it just swings freely, but when you got something like this that's this tall and this long, when you're going from side to side, front to back, you have to navigate the hose around the rig, the obstacles, the fan, the solar panels, you know. You can't just go swinging around and walking freely with the hose, is what I'm saying. You have to make sure you're not catching it on anything. I also noticed on the roof of the cab, there's the slightest bit of rust staining. There's no rust up here, but there must be, you know, like one spot or something under the rubber seal for the windshield, and it just caused a little bit of staining. So I've got to get up there and get that rubbed off also, and that's gonna be a bear because it's like right in the middle, and it's very, very hard to get to. All right, so today's projects: post office, car wash. Now I got to take this guy out for a quick one. But he's been a very good boy. Just barked the whole time I was spraying. I don't know if you could hear him in the camera, but he barked the entire time that we were in the car wash. Lefty's got his hoodie on. Yeah, huh? It's cold outside, isn't it? I know. You don't put your hood up? Huh? Can that go up? I think it's just for show. These things are not easy to always get on him because of his chest diameter, but this one fits him. I found this one. This was given to me by a couple that stopped by, I think it was last year. They had some items, I believe if I remember right, their dog had passed, which was sad. And they gave me some items, like if I remember right, this one still had the tag on it, like, you know, brand new, hadn't been used yet. So this is a denim lined, it's his Buffalo Bills jersey, but it's very thin. So this is better. He's got his hoodie on, his workout hoodie. Hold on, let me get your collars. Well, here we are out for the morning walk, and you can see we got a little problem here. This is, oh my God, that's thick. Yeah, that's a lot. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of ice. That is thick. The poor truck is covered in ice. Covered. We had a lot of ice, rain last night. It's kind of pretty, but dangerous. You know, things start to give way and break, and the weatherman came on yesterday, the old senior weatherman, and talked about the infamous ice storm of 1991, which I vividly remember. I was at my first job after college, woke up that morning to a blinking 12 p.m. on my clock radio because we had lost power at some point during the night, but it was back on, for us at least. And then I got in the car and backed up the driveway. Oh, no, not in that mud. No, this way, left. Come here. This way, around here. There you go. Oh, that was close. Backed out the driveway and looked down the road, and the whole road was just trees, covered in trees that had fallen. And called my boss. Phones were down. They had no power. If I remember right, the shop stayed closed for 3 days because there was no power. And some people, I remember my father at his house, he lived in a suburb on the west side of Rochester. So, 20 minutes from where I was living. And he was without power for weeks. Some people, 3-4 weeks before they got it all restored. I talked about this in a past video. I can't remember in what context, but we got a bird fight. Hey, leave each other alone. Wow. The big bird fight. Are they gonna still go at it? It's either mating or fighting. I'm not sure which. I'll keep you looking this direction. It's more interesting than looking at me. But the weatherman came on yesterday and talked about the ice storm of 91. And he looked at all the records and all that, and it was a 100-year storm, that ice storm. Hadn't had one that bad in 100 years. You know, this is nothing compared to what we had back then. That was unbelievable amounts of ice, and so many trees and power poles and power lines got knocked down. I'm sure there's some damage today, but luckily we didn't go without power. And as it turned out, at my house back then in 91, like I said, I lost power at some point during the night because the clock radio was blinking. But that was it for my house in my neighborhood. Like I said, though, over at my father's house, they had to burn their fireplace and like sleep in the room that the fireplace was in the like den, until they finally got their power restored. Their whole neighborhood, the whole area was down for weeks. It's crazy. So we have like 6 hours of warm weather this morning before the next cold front comes through. So I'm going to show you how all you're going to see is that the bumper isn't rusty anymore. So I was able to get all that staining off of here, and you can see right here. So I need to get some actual chrome polish. I just don't have any. So what I used was, believe it or not, Mom had some soft scrub under the kitchen sink, and I used that, and it took that staining right off. You know, so this bumper, these are just rock chips from over the years. I've just never seen them rust before because we've never been in the salt before. Oh, buddy. And then the wheels, I don't think I showed you these, but see, like right here, this was, you know, sitting at the bottom when we got back. So it's just from, you know, the steel wheels that are behind these wheel covers, and some rust staining just kind of ran down and got on the chrome of these. You know, I've had these on here since I first bought the truck. I added these about 6.5 years ago, and they never have had any kind of staining or rust or anything on them. And I cleaned them up, same thing with the soft scrub, and then I'm gonna get the chrome polish on these also. I just don't have any. You know, I don't do a lot of detailing on the rig, but we got it rinsed off really well. And you see that? Yeah, I can see it in the camera screen. That's coming from under the rubber stripping. And same thing, it's a lot of stone chips and everything. So I decided after looking at that, when I saw it before, that I'm gonna have to put some paint on that. It's not rust, it's very light. That spot in the middle, that was there. I can see it better with the phone than I can see it in person. That paint right in that area flaked up. You see by that light? So I've got to fix that. But that's an easy fix. It's just getting up there is the hardest part. It's really hard to reach up there. So got all the salt off of it. You can see all the snow is gone, finally. It actually snowed 2 days ago. It's just been a brutal March here. I'm not exaggerating. The last 5 or 6 days, we've had winds, just colossal winds here. Just every day, wind. And it keeps blowing these storm systems through here. And any of you that are in this area, you've been experiencing it too. So it's just been a crappy March. And we got this little reprieve this morning, but there's a storm coming this afternoon, and it just rained. So everything's wet. So even though we got a little break from the poor weather, it rained and we got a new storm coming. All right, I want to give you all an update on when we first got back here to New York. Oh my gosh, it was like 4 degrees when we pulled in the driveway here. I shot video clips out in the rig over the first couple of days, and something with my camera that I was using, I don't know if it was from the cold, because I was going out there picking the camera up. I don't have the video clips. They just, it didn't work. I froze the camera, I think. But so we spent the first few days here, 3 or 4 days, it was below 0 at night, and it was single digits during the day, and just brutal, you know. And I grew up in New York in the winters, but man, was I ill prepared for this. So we pulled in here, and you know, I had to keep my batteries from freezing up, and there was no way I could get out there and disconnect everything, and it was just so dang cold, wind blowing like you wouldn't believe. I left the diesel heater running for the first, I don't know, 4 days we were here. And you saw when we were driving that the heater wasn't able to keep up with the traveling in single digit temperatures. And what I figured out was, because I was blowing a bunch of the heat out into my battery compartment, that's why the heater was having so much problem, you know, keeping the inside of the rig warmed up, because it never has problem doing that. So because I was evacuating a bunch of the heat, because those cabinet, my battery cabinet, all the cabinets are vented to the outside. So I was basically blowing the warm air from the heater, some of it, out into the cabinet and then out into the 2-degree temperatures it was outside. So eventually the cabinet warmed up, the truck warmed up inside, you know, now that we weren't moving anymore. So I think it was the second day, the truck and the cabinet were both at 60 degrees. So the batteries were fine, you know, they stayed, they didn't freeze up. So then when we finally got a little break in the weather, I was able to go out there and disconnect the solar panels so they weren't receiving a charge anymore. And, you know, turn them off so they're not connected to anything. So I was able to get everything disconnected. But I've got to come up with a better solution, obviously. You know, we've never been in, since we've been driving in the rig, you know, there were a couple of single nights that we spent that were 15 degrees. One night in Colorado, we stopped for a night and it was like 15 degrees. One time, South Dakota. The first time we went to the beet harvest back when we first started traveling, I had AGM battery, or yeah, AGM, no, gel batteries. So it didn't matter that they got cold. But once we had lithiums, the previous system and then this system, you know, we've never spent prolonged periods in cold weather, and nothing close to what it was when we got here. So really, you know, made me realize I got to make a change to the heating system out there. That fan, yes, it does work in our normal travels, but if we ever get in a situation where we have to go somewhere where it's cold like this, you know, we would have been in a little bit of trouble, I think. So I'm going to be working on making a change. My little fan engineered system worked for our normal travels, but sure didn't work when we got into this kind of weather. And it has been, so far we've had 2 periods where it was like, you know, spring warm. Like it went into 70 degrees one day, then the next day it was like 65, and then the next day it was 20, you know. So it's just been a very, very volatile weather period, which it always is this time of year in this part of the country. And, you know, 71 day, like yesterday it was like 58 in the morning, and by the afternoon it was 30, and now it snowed and rained, freezing rain and snowed overnight, and it is just brutal outside, blowing. It's just so cold again. So it's going to be a little bit before spring hits us here and we can start doing some stuff outside. So it's been a lot of Netflix and Amazon Prime and taking naps with Lefty, basically, is what we've been doing. So thanks, y'all, for being here with us. I appreciate it. Everyone take care. Be safe. We'll see y'all again real soon. Dude, my bed was made when I walked out of here this morning. What are you doing? Huh? Have you made yourself quite comfortable up in there? I'm not kidding. My bed was made when I left here. Okay. I'll put up with it. That's my puppy. Oh, is it snowing? Yeah. It's snowing, huh? Okay. Oh. Come on, puppy. This way. Don't worry. It's supposed to be 60 in about a week. Promise. Well, I'm going by what the weatherman says, so I can't promise, but it's going to be warmer.